If you want to stay up to date with all current hip hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to become part of this community. So, of course, a couple of days ago, it was 420, and on this day, a lot of artists usually drop something or announce something. We had Snoop Dogg, we had Cordae, so we know this day is something in hip hop that is always kind of, eventful. And one of the artists that also did something or kind of came back from a very long hiatus now is A$AP Rocky. And he was featured on Weed Map's virtual, kind of event. It's called Even Higher Together. And on here, he performed a song that we've heard before on Yams Day 2021. So I think it was in January that we first got a snippet from the song, but we now got the full version. And he performed it, live in a way because it was recorded, but it's not the studio version. You can find better mastered versions of the track on SoundCloud, which I highly recommend you do. And this song is amazing. This song is everything that I would have wanted Rocky to do. Now, earlier I said that he came back out of a hiatus. This is not really true. We got a track from him earlier this year for the Messiah soundtrack, which I actually did quite enjoy, but we haven't gotten a single from him ever since 2019's Babushka Boy, and that was something that not a lot of Rocky fans were too happy with. I actually didn't dislike the song, but it was not something that, kind of pushed his limits or really was something that we know Rocky for, being able to create. Now, one thing I want to say about this track is that a really big reason that I am such a fan of A$AP Rocky is that you can see his evolution through his music. He came up, on that psychedelic kind of cloud rap sound in the early 2010s with Live Love A$AP. And on there, it was kind of like, it was women, clothes, and, kind of the basic rapper thing. But he always conveyed it in a very confident and artistic way. And that was something I always appreciated about him. And then through his studio albums, kind of Long Live A$AP was a typical, debut album talking about the same things, but with very introspective and deep parts to it. Long Live A$AP, at long last A$AP, my bad, was yet another step in his evolution, taking more on a more psychedelic sound in the way of not just the content matter that he was previously discussing, but also diving into some other themes in his music. And then Testing was also his most disliked project, but to me is probably one of my favorites because it is just so experimental. It is just such a body of art that you can appreciate all the way through. He experiments with a lot of different sounds, with a lot of different ways he can use his voice and ways he can express himself. I think Rocky is someone who over the years has grown into this persona of being like, I think he even called himself that at one point, like an art connoisseur or, someone who's just there to, kind of even have that persona as a rapper, but still be appreciative to the art and be able to create something that is everlasting and eternal. Also, his whole, side dabbles in fashion is just further proof of that he's really, it's like a bigger picture you gotta see when you listen to Rocky's music. And this new song, my God, this new song is amazing. Sandman, and I gotta give a shout out to Clams Casino. This is something that A$AP Rocky fans, we have been wanting to hear for such a long time. Clams Casino was one of the main producers on Love Live A$AP. He really established that, signature A$AP sound that, they became famous through and that they got attention for back in the day, mixing New York style with some Southern aspects, he always called himself like Houston influence. And Clams Casino, the producer, was always one of the main puzzle pieces in that equation. And I think he produced some stuff off of Long Live A$AP. I think Level was from him. So always the good beats, always the beats that make an A$AP Rocky song so artistic, so kind of connectable to the listener, and so artful is from Clams Casino. Now, of course, that's kind of like, exaggerating it, but still, Clams Casino is a big piece in the equation to A$AP Rocky's sound and success. And this new thing, they've reconnected again. Clams Casino was on this thing, and the instrumental is insane. This instrumental is something that Rocky's voice fits over perfectly, and this vibe that the song gives off is just crazy. Now, A$AP Rocky's writing has also improved a lot. We've had some questionable bars on Long Live A$AP, for example, but on here he's really taking, this is really a development I love to see, and he's taking a bit more of a metaphorical approach to his writing, not so to the point, but rather leaving room for interpretation. He compares himself, for example, to a lot of great minds. He says, my mind like George Lucas, I think like Stanley Kubrick, which I think was also really cool. I love that he's seeing himself in that position as a thinker. He's still embracing his position or his perception of himself as an outsider. He says, permanent bling my tooth is, yes, I'm a strange human, which is something that we've seen stretch all throughout his career, which I still find very interesting. I think that also gives him the energy to create the art that he's creating, kind of that perception of himself as an outsider, as not being understood. And I know a lot of people say this kind of corny or, hypocritical, but it gives him that power to do this. The hook on here is also divine. Now, I think a lot of people already complain about his high notes on here, but they just fit perfectly, even if they're not, perfect in a musical sense. It is just insane. Go listen to this track, guys. Really go listen to this track. Now, what this also implies is that All Smiles, so his new album is probably coming soon. We've heard this track before at Yams Day, but only a snippet. It was known as Gloves back then. Now we got the name Sandman for it. And it might be on All Smiles. And All Smiles is something that we've been waiting for 3 years now. And I would love to see it. I would love to see it drop this year. It would just... If every track on that album is as good and kind of as meaningful as Sandman, then oh my God, A$AP Rocky is one of the GOATs. Like, yeah, that's what I gotta say about this. I really love this track. This is probably gonna be on repeat for me for the next couple of days. It's something that I've wanted Rocky to do for such a long time, and I'm hoping we'll get to see some more of him in the future. One thing I do want to mention is that on the track he had a line, now I can't recall it word by word, but it basically said, jewelry collection so gigantic, it'll take a week to shoot it. Later on, he also drops GQ on just recorded an album with Mercedes, let GQ EQ it. So that connection of jewelry collection shooting it with GQ, maybe we'll get a jewelry collection video from him in the future. And that usually artists do these types of GQ videos when they have an album about to drop. So that is another hint why I believe that we'll get All Smiles quite soon. That's my thoughts on this. Let me know what you thought about this track in the comments down below. Let me know when you think All Smiles is dropping, and if you're also just impressed by Rocky's development over the years. Now let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.